Hello my friends and welcome back to JP Gaming. So today we've got my impressions and review video of 2 Point Campus. So before I begin, as always, if you could hit that subscribe button on the channel, like the video, leave comments, hit up all my socials, all of the links are in the banners, and as always this would be much appreciated. If you like what you see, you like what you hear, forward it on to all your friends and get this channel growing and get the community going. Always appreciated, much love. So before I begin, I'd just like to point out that I've not completed all of the main scenarios in 2 Point, but I have put a decent amount of time into it, both in the main release, and I was also demoed a early build at a gaming expo earlier in the year, and I sat there and put a bit of time into that as well. I just wanted to clear that up just for clarity. So let's hop into the review. So 2 Point Campus, it's the follow-up to 2 Point Hospital. It's developed by 2 Point Studios and it's published by Sega. 2 Point is a sim management game, and for anyone that was a fan of the old Bullfrog games, Theme Park and Theme Hospital, you're going to absolutely love this and you're going to feel right at home. For those of you that played 2 Point Hospital, you're going to be really comfortable here, and it's largely the same. So 2 Point Campus follows the same formula, all the way from the character design, the in-game radio DJ with the music and the in-game announcer. All of these are exactly the same format and they're just as quirky, just as fun, and the music's just as good as well. Goes really well with the game. The gameplay is largely the same. You build specialist rooms for courses, for food, for dorms, for your students to stay in. All of that kind of stuff. You hire staff and you deck out your campus to meet the various student needs, and that can be anything from wanting specific posters in their room to an arcade machine, etc. 2 Point Campus, where it does differ from the previous game, is it has a yearly schedule this time, and it has an end of a wall systems, and once the school year ends you're free to build and adjust your campus as you see fit with no time limit, and that's in preparation for the next term. So at the end of every term, basically your students will go off and it will be the holidays, and there'll be no time limit, the months won't pass, no time will pass, and you can just adjust your campus. You can build new rooms, you can expand into an extra building, you can obviously knock down rooms if you're not liking what you've got. You can also unlock new courses, you get course points at the end of the year. So you can, say you're doing Scientology for instance, you can either upgrade that to level 2, or you might unlock a second course and you might want to unlock an additional course rather than upgrading the Scientology. With that comes a whole host of like other checklists and other objectives that you have to achieve. So it might be like build a second library, or build a second Scientology room, hire a new teacher, hire a new janitor, etc. But all of this is done in the holiday, if you like, the outside of term time, and you're free to just sort of play around with that. There's no real pressure in that you have to do it before the students arrive. But when the students do arrive, new students arrive at the start of every term, and then they're locked in for the entirety of the term. You won't get any new students for during term time, but sometimes you may get some students visit and they may want to join next year if you pass the little objective that comes up. The students that join your campus, they will stay, and they'll stay for a number of years until they graduate or until you expel them. You can expel them. Students can also drop out, but I've not encountered that yet. So that's basically the gist of the game. Like I say, pretty much the same as 2 Point Hospital in that respect, but it's just being replaced with a campus. But students' moods, they play a big part in their grades, so that's quite a big part of this game. So keeping them happy is absolutely key. You can do this by a number of ways, but the most obvious ways are assigning them to private tutors. You can assign them to private tutors, and that will help give them some, obviously, private tutoring, and that helps. I've noticed that actually helps improve their grades quite a bit. You can build student rooms to keep them happy. And as well as that, you can actually now, this is also new in 2 Point Campus, you can arrange events. I believe this is new in 2 Point Campus. I didn't come across it in 2 Point Hospital, but I may be wrong. But you can arrange events, and these include parties and cook-offs, and they just basically increase the general morale and general happiness of the students. And the happier that they are, the more willing that they are to study. And I've noticed that you do see a dramatic increase in their grades improving as you keep them happy. So you get your little bars down the bottom, and that will give you your overall happiness of your students. And I've noticed that if that's quite low, you'll see the grades dropping to a C or below. But as soon as you run a couple of parties or a couple of events and you get them happy, and the students are nice and happy, you'll see that them grades will instantly increase. I've noticed that as an instant effect pretty much. It's a really good way of doing it, so you've got to keep on top of that. Obviously running the events, they do cost money, so you have to kind of manage that around all of your other outgoings for the month, but they're a good way of doing that. As well as that, obviously there's all the other requirements that you have to meet, such as food and hygiene. So there's toilets, there's, you know, you can put vending machines, etc. You can even put a little coffee out shop as well. There's also personal requests, so this could be anything from building a bench outside to building a love bench, so it helps increase the relationship if someone's looking to form a relationship with another student. You can also unlock new items within the game with a currency called Kudosh. That's obviously a staple of the 2 Point games as well. So as you complete objectives, you get this in-game currency, and you can unlock a new poster for say 10 Kudosh, or you can unlock a better, maybe like a Scientology bookshelf for your library, and that may be 200 Kudosh because it's a bit more key to the game. That's pretty standard within the 2 Point series. There's various objectives within each scenario, and as you complete them you gain a star rating. So each level has a 1, 2 and a 3 star rating to complete, and once you've achieved the first star, you're free to return to the map, the world map, and you can move on to the next campus. So you can revisit the past scenarios at any point and continue where you left off, and that is useful if you're struggling to maybe get the 3rd star, because at that point you might have unlocked some new items or some new courses, and it can really help get the 3rd star massively, because those items may increase like the studying power, or it may increase the happiness of the student, so it might just help you unlock that 3rd star if you're struggling. Currently I've been trying to get all 3 of the stars as I go along before I move on to the next campus, but that is getting more difficult as I go on, so maybe I'm going to skip down to maybe 2 and then go back and get the 3rd at a later point. As well as the main scenarios, there's also a sandbox mode where you're free to build your own campus in any of the various themed plots throughout the game. And this is where the longevity of the game will really shine, because you're just free to go in and do what you want basically. You do have to complete a portion of the main scenarios to unlock all the map, but it's not really that time consuming, and you'll be able to get into that pretty quickly if that's what you want. So to wrap it up, for anyone who likes management building sims, the nice chilled ones, or if you're just simply nostalgic for the good old days of Theme Park and Theme Hospital, you should definitely give 2 Point Campus a try. The art style, the music, the gameplay, it really did hit the spot for me, and for me this is the closest we've come recreating the golden times of Theme Park and Theme Hospital. I've mentioned them a lot, but a lot of games have tried to replicate them and they don't really come close. Well, none of them for me have really. They're either too complicated or they just don't really seem to fit the kind of vibe. They try to do that kind of quirky, funny gameplay and it just doesn't really seem to work. But 2 Point, they seem to have nailed that in both their games. I really like 2 Point Hospital and I'm a really big fan of 2 Point Campus. So JP rating for this, 8 out of 10. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope it's useful, and I hope now maybe you can form an opinion yourself for the game. So we'll be back soon with another video, and until then, have some fun, play some games, and I'll see you next time. This is JP Gaming, and we are out.